Hi everyone, my name's Emaleigh Kish and welcome to my theoretical stance presentation. When I look at a top-down or bottom-up approach, I find that the bottom-up approach will benefit my classroom, my teaching strategies, and my students the best. So that is what my stance will be about. So when we look at bottom-up theoretical approaches, we should know that the bottom-up stem from cognitive processing perspectives. So in those types of theories, written and printed text is more so emphasized, and reading proceeds from part to whole, and a process that results in meaning is what drives reading, which is written by Liu in 2010. So the two bottom-up theories that I chose to focus on are the simple view of reading and the automatic information processing model. The three factors of the simple view of reading are decoding, reading comprehension, and listening comprehension. The term decoding in this theory focuses on the efficient word recognition rather than the generic meaning to sound out words. Language comprehension is understood to have abilities to gain meaning from spoken words, and reading comprehension has a strong reliance on print to derive meaning from a text. When we look at these three factors, we must notice that the relationship can be shown through a multiplication formula, which is decoding multiplied by listening comprehension will result in the overall reading comprehension. If there is a missing variable from the given formula, then the missing variable may be found if the other two are present. Both decoding skills and language comprehension must be strong for reading comprehension to occur. For the automatic information processing model, the theory highlights 5 major components of memory. These are visual memory, phonological memory, episodic memory, semantic memory, and attention. In visual memory, utilization is used to recognize individual letters and words. Phonological memory attaches sounds to images, and episodic memory is where information is recorded on context surrounding the learning target, and semantic memory stores all other information. The main component of this theory is attention, which portrays two types, internal and external. When we think of internal attention, it's what's going on inside of the brain that an outsider would not know at all. So it may look like a student is paying attention, but if their internal attention is somewhere else, then the teacher or whoever may be in the classroom may have no idea what is truly going on in that student's mind. When we look at external attention, this is what an outsider can see. So if someone is playing with their pencil at their desk, we know that their external attention is not on the content being taught. The theorists of these theories are Dr. Philip Goh is the theorist that invented the simple view. He served as the chair department of psychology at the University of Texas between 1975 and 1979. He also served as the co-director and director of the Center for Cognitive Science between 1977 and 1987. And he also served as the editor of Reading Research Quarterly between 1985 and 1991. For the automatic information processing model, Dr. David LeBerg is a neuropsychologist that specialized in the process of attention. Automaticity is a widely studied theory because of his research and contribution to this theory. Dr. S.J. Samuel started his career as an elementary school teacher and later became a professor at the University of Minnesota. His research is based on reading fluency, decoding, and comprehending text. Teaching strategies and differentiating the theories. So I chose to really go in depth on this because I feel like differentiating a bottom-up approach is very important for all classrooms, but more importantly, mine. I am one of the least restricted classrooms in kindergarten at my school, and so I do have a lot of lower level reading kids, but how I'm able to differentiate that based on these theories has helped me a lot as an educator this year. When we look at the simple view teaching strategies, the National Center on Improving Literacy explains that students should read accurately and fluently to help comprehend the meaning of text. The authors note that systematic instruction is required for readers to use accurate word reading and text comprehension. The National Center on Improving Literacy also defines systematic instruction as a carefully planned teaching sequence which includes breaking down harder skills into smaller parts and building from easier to more difficult tasks. While understanding systematic instruction, teachers can see the importance of building decoding skills and language comprehension skills up so that the overall goal, which is reading comprehension, may be reached. With the formula of reading comprehension equals decoding multiplied by language comprehension, educators will be able to find interventions that targets the student's area of struggle, which can be either of the three factors. So when an educator thinks about differentiating for the simple view theory, we must look at the strengths and weaknesses in language comprehension and decoding skills so that the teachers may use this data to differentiate instruction. If a student shows poor skills in language comprehension, this may mean that the student has good decoding skills. The same applies for decoding skills. If the decoding skills are poor, then the student may have a good language comprehension skill. If one of the variables are strong, then the student's reading comprehension will equal the weaker variable. So an example of this shows that if the decoding is at 100% and language comprehension is at 50%, then the overall reading comprehension will only go to 50% because of that weak language comprehension skill. If the weaker variable is strengthened, then the reading comprehension score will also increase. So if we were to change that 50% to 75%, then the overall reading comprehension will be at a 75% as well. I believe that this makes differentiating a little bit easier because when you work with students, there may be groups divided based on skill ability. So when we look at each student's scores for each of the two factors being multiplied, we can help group our students based on ability using that data. So when we look at the diverse needs, whether they be bi or multilingual, gifted, striving readers and writers, or many more possibilities, this theory can help to support each student's needs. For students that their first language is not English, they may tend to have a lower language comprehension skill. Gifted students and striving readers and writers may be exceeding in both areas, but teachers should still strive to increase skills in these areas. We never want to stop at what our students know, even if it is at 100%. We want to keep encouraging them to learn more and gain better knowledge skills. Some teaching strategies for automatic information processing theory includes guided reading. This is a very beneficial implementation to the classroom because it can benefit a reader's skills in fluency and automaticity. When we use this practice in the classroom, we help to support the automatic information processing theory because teachers are able to monitor the development and reading skills of students. While implementing guided reading, it is especially important to lead it in a small group setting based on the student's abilities. This helps to maintain a consistent area of intervention for students of similar strengths and weaknesses. When applying guided reading into the classroom, teachers should plan lessons in 3 phases. Before reading, so going over the book and guessing what the book will be about. During reading, referring back to what we just read and reminding students what is going on, and then after reading, summarizing the text with your students so that you understand that they are comprehending what they just read. Through the implementation of guided reading, teachers may group students based on their ability. In my classroom, I have 5 guided reading groups that are based on their reading levels and abilities. This helps in being able to set a tone for what each group's goal is to accomplish, while I provide guided instruction for them. With my lower level groups, it is important for myself to focus on the skills leading up to reading. My favorite model to implement in my classroom during guided reading is the I do, you do, and we do models, because these help students show what they should be doing while reading. In the I do model, I read and students listen and follow along with their fingers. When it's the you do part, being in kindergarten, it is a little harder for my students to automatically know what they are reading, so we do an echo model where I read a sentence and then they read it back to me. And we do, the whole group reads the text as a whole. I believe that this is better approach to lower level groups. However, you can still use these approaches to middle and higher level groups as well. I tend to use the I do model less because the other 2 models help to differentiate where they are with their reading abilities. Some interventions to strengthen literacy skills are that both of these theories, the simple view and the automatic information processing system, help to build upon each other in regards to intervention strategies. An example of this is that using guided reading may help strengthen students' skills in decoding, language comprehension, and reading comprehension, thus helping improve both skills from both theories. When we use the simple view, the interventions that should be set in place should help strengthen the weakest factor. These interventions can focus on helping students derive meaning from language and improving comprehension strategies. The impact of technology on bottom-up approaches is very big, and in today's society does play a huge role in the classroom. There are many different resources that teachers can implement in their classrooms. Some examples are Raz Kids, Lexia Core 5, Google, Mayon, and there's so many more out there. To help support a bottom-up approach, it is important to find resources that promote student knowledge and adheres to the idea of reading comprehension and processing information. Because bottom-up theories are constructivist, they should support students learning up and starting at the print concepts. As stated, Raz Kids is an online resource that can help to support bottom-up approaches. On this resource, students are able to work on literacy skills that are currently being taught in the classroom. Phonics is one of the major foundational skill sections on this resource. In the phonics section, there is major focuses on print concepts, phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, and reading comprehension. Lexia Core 5 is another resource where students can complete units based on their current literacy level. Through this resource, teachers can pull reports to share with families, as well as other reports to help teachers gain an idea of where the students are academically and where they may need more support. In my classroom, we use Lexia, and it is such a great resource to help support building those phonological skills. So, why a bottom-up approach? Well, teaching kindergarten has definitely opened my eyes to see what my students have not learned in the past. Because some of them didn't go to pre-K, they missed a lot of the educational background. The theories that I chose to support can help my students gain those concepts that they missed out on starting at the very bottom at print